Arrests surrounding the Epstein Files are beginning to take place, starting with Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, but not for the reasons we may think. This is what he had to say regarding his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
It would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend, but he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together.
Oh, he was good at bringing people together. Interesting. Prince Andrew was arrested yesterday on his 66th birthday. And there are a few things that we need to do right now. First, we need to go through what happened on the day of the arrest and what led up to that arrest. Following that, we need to really understand why he was arrested in the first place. And then I have something really special for you at the end of the video regarding our President Trump here in the United States, and then something that he said years ago, which may surprise you. Let's tune in.
Good evening from Buckingham Palace on what has been a seismic day for the royal family. The former Prince Andrew has tonight been released under investigation from a police station in Norfolk, where he has spent the day in custody following his arrest this morning on suspicion of misconduct in public office.
Misconduct in public office. Many who are familiar with the Epstein Files would be led to believe that it was because of things that he did with young women. More on that in a second.
Police in unmarked cars swooped on his new home on the Sandringham estate at about 8 o'clock this morning. The royal family had not been informed in advance. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, who is 66 today, has been facing allegations that when he was a British trade envoy, he shared confidential documents with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Did you hear this? He is being convicted of sharing documents regarding markets and things like that revolving around money, nothing to do with young women. I found that interesting.
King Charles issued this statement shortly after his younger brother's arrest. He said, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and suspicion of misconduct in public office. What now follows is the full, fair and proper process by which this issue is investigated in the appropriate manner and by the appropriate authorities."
You can see right here that Charles is really trying to handle this appropriately and saying that he's going to let the whole process take place and justice essentially will be served right here, even though he's talking about his brother.
In this, as I have said before, they have our full and wholehearted support and cooperation. Let me state clearly, the law must take its course.
Definitely trying to keep his hands clean and stay completely out of any of the dirt that's being spoken of.
As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all.
Okay, a very clean, political strong message right here. Justice will be served and nothing is going to be, messed around with on the back end because this is a family member. We are going to continue to serve you and make sure that everything is run well right here.
Charles R. Well, these photos were taken a short time ago as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor returned to Sandringham. He is 8th in line to the throne and the most senior royal to be arrested since Charles I more than 350 years ago.
Wow.
He has always denied wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. He has not responded to the BBC's request for comment on any of the specific allegations in relation to the release of millions of Epstein files in January. Our first report tonight is from our special correspondent, Lucy Manning.
All right, so we can hope that we hear something soon from Andrew, but right now, obviously, he was just returning to his home, and it's his birthday, and he has his entire world crumbling around him. So that time is not yet, but I will keep you covered right here on the channel when that does drop.
In royal carriages to tonight's departure from a police station. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor appears to lie back in the car, taking him out of Elsham Police Station, but still unable to avoid photographers. Released under investigation after a day of police questioning. A far cry from earlier this month as he waved to the public from his car in Windsor.
Yeah, so earlier in the month, he's this huge celebrity loved by all, waving, joyous, and now he's hiding in his car because he's so ashamed of everything that he's been accused of.
The morning started with unmarked police cars on a Norfolk country lane. An understated arrival given the significance of what was to come. Around 8 a.m, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor was arrested. Police officers took the King's brother, the 8th in line to the throne, from the King's estate at Sandringham to police custody. The former prince arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, held on his 66th birthday. The BBC broke the news of his arrest at 10 a.m.
We start with breaking news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. The BBC understands that he has been arrested.
Followed shortly by a statement from Thames Valley Police confirming the development. It said, "We have today arrested a man in his 60s from Norfolk on suspicion of misconduct in public office and are carrying out searches at addresses in Berkshire and Norfolk. The man remains in police custody at this time." Just weeks ago, Andrew was out riding at Windsor. Now, the police at the gates here near his former home at Royal Lodge, as well as searches at his current Sandringham home. Police questioning the former prince about allegations in the Epstein Files, first reported by the BBC that he shared official documents when he was a UK trade envoy, including with Jeffrey Epstein. The King carried on with his royal engagements, opening London Fashion Week. Despite this arrest that will have undoubtedly shaken the royal family.
What's your reactions to your brother's arrest, sir?
Even as they've tried to distance themselves from the former prince.
Probably smart, right? Get yourself as far away from this nonsense as you can, because you have a job to do holding office.
The King wasn't told in advance of the arrest, and at midday he released a statement. Written, it seems, as a monarch rather than a brother, saying, "I have learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. Let me state clearly," he said, "the law must take its course. As this process continues, it would not be right for me to comment further on this matter. Meanwhile, my family and I will continue in our duty and service to you all." Signed, Charles R.
Very strong.
Speaking before the arrest was announced, the Prime Minister said whether it was Andrew or anyone else involved, they should come forward with information.
One of the core principles in our system is that everybody is equal under the law and nobody is above the law. And it is really important that that is applied across the board.
Andrew Mountbatten Windsor previously denied separate allegations he had sex in the early 2000s with then teenager Virginia Giuffre.
All right, we're seeing some really familiar faces right here. Andrew cannot deny that he was with Epstein, with these girls. There's plenty of pictures that we're going to get into in just a moment, proving that he was there. This is not even regarding the sharing of trading information.
Who took her own life last year. Her family praised his arrest, speaking to Newsnight.
We are hopeful that this investigation now starts to open up that further probe into the assault allegations, into the child. So it still is a win.
The 66-year-old has always consistently denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. He downplayed their relationship in his 2019 Newsnight interview.
Yeah.
It would be a considerable stretch to say that he was a very, very close friend, but he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together. And that's the bit that I remember.
It's crazy that he tries to that he remembers Epstein for his ability to bring and socialize people together. It's just funny how he's kind of deflecting what he actually knows goes on in anything relating to Epstein.
As police officers continue to search at Windsor, these are of course only allegations at the moment. He has not been charged with any offence, but this is an unprecedented arrest in modern royal history.
And one of the first arrests in recent years regarding the Epstein Files. Now, we have more on these allegations from Prince Andrew, but why don't we listen in to hear what President Trump had to say last night after hearing about Prince Andrew's arrest.
Of Jeffrey Epstein will wind up in handcuffs too.
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing.
All right, so clearly President Trump thinks it's very sad that this is happening to the royal family, not specifically speaking on Prince Andrew's situation himself.
It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out from the last 3 million pages of documents.
All right, so it seems that President Trump, rather than really commenting too much on Prince Andrew and what was just being accused of him, more takes it as an opportunity to again share that he did nothing wrong regarding the Epstein Files. Now let's dive deeper into the Prince Andrew Epstein story. And then I want to share something with you guys that you're not going to believe that President Trump said years ago.
Although today's arrest had nothing to do with Virginia Giuffre, this picture of her with Andrew and Ghislaine Maxwell was where it all began.
Now, notice that they said the arrest today had nothing to do with his involvement with women.
She said that she'd been forced by Jeffrey Epstein to have sex with Andrew, and that this picture was proof.
He knows what happened. I know what happened. And there's only one of us telling the truth, and I know that's me.
Epstein had been jailed in 2008 for girls under the age of 18, though Virginia Giuffre was not part of that case. 2 years later, in 2010, Andrew was photographed meeting Epstein in New York and even filmed staying in the disgraced financier's home.
2 years after being arrested, when all of this was known, Prince Andrew was in the home. We have a clear shot of it right there, saying goodbye to some young woman as they're leaving the house.
In his infamous Newsnight interview, he said he'd gone there to break off contact with Epstein.
By mutual agreement during that walk in the park, we decided that we would part company, and I left, I think it was the next day. And to this day, I never had any contact with him from that day forward.
So he felt the need to meet in person, make it a very formal breakup to no longer interact with Epstein. Do you believe that? Or do you think it's complete bogus?
The problem was the fact that once he had been convicted,
You stayed with him.
I stayed with him, and that's the bit that as it were, I kick myself for on a daily basis, because it was not something that was becoming of a member of the royal family.
The year after that 2010 meeting, Andrew stopped working as a trade envoy but continued his royal duties until 2019. And even though Epstein died in prison that year, Virginia Giuffre and his other victims continued to campaign for the truth to come out, starting what became a clamour for the release of the Department of Justice's Epstein Files.
A lot of people don't realize, but this has been going on for a very long time, for many, many years. It's just become a more popular topic again as of late because a lot of these files have been released. But this has been things that people have been rallying against to release these files for a very long time.
The releases began last year, and when the biggest release of all came in January, the BBC found this apparent email exchange timed days before the pictures of Andrew's meeting with Epstein in New York. Andrew seems to receive some UK government reports from his visit to Asia, and within 5 minutes, his account, the Duke, appears to forward the reports to Jeffrey Epstein, the man he said he was breaking off relations with.
All right, so first of all, he said he was breaking off relations, yet he's still emailing. Second, Jeffrey Epstein made all of his money from the markets. That's what he did prior to all of the things that we know of Jeffrey Epstein. And it's happening because of some type of insider trading details that we're hearing today that Prince Andrew is essentially being charged for at this point in time.
The day after the BBC report, Thames Valley Police said it was looking at whether to start an investigation into Andrew into misconduct in public office. He was forced to leave Royal Lodge and move to Norfolk.
You cannot believe that Andrew, surrounded by police, by civil servants, by government ministers, by other royals, for 30 years, 40 years he's known Epstein, that no one knew anything about anything that he was up to.
And so on his 66th birthday, the late Queen's much-loved son suffered his latest humiliation, being arrested on the Sandringham estate and taken into police custody while his homes were searched.
And I think we're just beginning to hear the story of what actually went down with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. But now you have to see something that President Trump said back in 2015.
You raised the question of Jeffrey Epstein in your remarks about in the Q&A.
Well, I think he's got a problem. I mean,
what do you think the problem will be?
I don't know, but that island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew. He'll tell you about it.
The island was a cesspool. Just ask Prince Andrew about it. Interesting. And it is all just beginning. But if you think that was crazy, check out what Mel Gibson has to say and what's going on with Ellen DeGeneres.